What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. We've got a lot to talk about because this week, very important things are coming to crypto. Now, everything's rallying right now, and we love to see it. But starting this week, we will see Mt. Gox starting to repay the Bitcoin that debtors had from back in 2014. Will that bring more momentum to the upside, or will it be a crash to the markets? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. We also got to talk about Kaspa. Now, Kaspa had some big things happen. People are very, very bullish on it long term, but there was an event that happened that could give some Kaspa holders some concerns. We're going to break that down. And the third and final piece, again, we got to be very delicate with it. We got some big news coming out today involving everyone's favorite orange man. Love him or hate him, he is your favorite person that is orange. What is happening with that? How that'll affect the crypto markets? Make sure you watch all the way to the very end to get every single detail. But first, you got to smash the like, hit subscribe, and we got to roll the intro. Welcome, T-Shroom, with the dancing going on. I love it. T-Shroom, how you feeling today?
Well, I am a bit of a dancer, Tim. It's one of my skills, one of my hobbies, and I'm feeling better than I deserve, Tim. Thank you so much for asking. How are you today, my bearded friend?
You know, I'm doing okay. I was telling T-Shroom before the stream, everybody. I woke up this morning. You know, like sometimes you don't feel like terrible, but you have that scratch in your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went to shoot the morning video, and I'm very glad that what happened. In the video, I could feel like the weakness in my voice. There's a couple times I even felt like my voice like cracked. Just my throat just felt like scratchy. It turns out I recorded the whole video, and the audio did not get recorded, so I had to record it all over again. But the second time, I was able to drink some more water, get some more clarity. So I am hoping I'm going to go home tonight after this show is over. We do have a VIP members Q&A that I'm going to be doing at 4:45 or so. I'm hoping that what's going to happen is I'm going to crush some vitamin C. I'm going to get a great night's sleep, and it's just going to be a weird anomaly that my throat was scratchy this morning. Otherwise, there's an outside chance I could be sick. I also woke up with a kink in my neck. My whole neck was locked up, so I don't know what's going on. It was not the best morning. I don't know if I could say that I'm doing better than I deserve, or maybe I deserved it. I don't know. It's one or the other. Either way, I'm feeling good about my portfolio and how crypto's looking today, but I do have questions about what it does moving forward. Let's take a look here, T-Shroom. What's happening with the bubbles?
Yeah. Well, before you do, I'll jump over to the bubbles, but go ahead and share your screen for me. Just take a second. Take a second. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing on the bubbles here.
We got
Beam
bubbles.
Up 8.4%.
Yeah.
Brett, the meme token that everybody was loving for a while, up 11.1. Tim, go ahead and take it away on the bubble chart from your perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. I was so feeling out of it. I forgot to share my screen with you. But the good news is here, despite the fact that we didn't share screens, sea of green for the most part. A lot of memes up, bonks up, whiffs up, Brett's up. Let's see what else is the meme world is up. I think as a whole, those look the biggest gainers. ENS is up pretty well. CFX, eGold, Beam is up. IMX. You do have a couple in the red. TIA. We like TIA here at Investing Bros. It's down 4.4. We also like FET as it continues to get closer with AGIX into becoming ASI. Kaspa, one of the coins we talked about, we're going to discuss today, down almost 6%. Oh, nope, there we go. You are down 6%. Why is that? You got to stick around for that news. But as a whole, a lot of our favorites are really up. AVAX. Supposedly there's some great news for AVAX. It's up 5%. Ondo's up 3.4%. Let's take a look at the top 10 as a whole, though. Bitcoin shooting back up above 63,000 this morning. A little bit of a pullback in the last couple of minutes. When we went live, we were at like 63,600. So cooled off a couple $100 there. As a whole, though, up 2.4% on the day. Ethereum only 1.6. I do have some thoughts about Ethereum we need to talk about as far as we're a week away from the ETF being live. What does Ethereum kind of standing still right below 3,500 look like and mean? We'll talk about that. BNB not doing much, only up 0.5, almost looking like a stable coin. Solana 1.8. XRP like a stable coin, only 0.63 up. Toncoin only 0.9. Doge 1.4. Cardano, though, picking up some momentum here. 4.8% gains, back up over 40 cents for Cardano. We did a video on that this morning. Big news and great stuff happening with Cardano and number 14, Polkadot, and some of the stuff that they're doing together. Like we said, AVAX, though, kind of the main mover, 5% for the day. It's not a top 10, but it's right outside, so we're counting it. Let's get in here, T-Shroom. Let's take a look at the markets as a whole. Bitcoin back up, as we said, above 63,000. Looks like we want to get a little higher up here. I do have some levels I'm watching for potential resistance on this move. We're going to discuss here in a second stuff going on with Mt. Gox, but for right now, it does look like we're getting that official buy signal on the daily chart today with the money flow finally confirming positive. On Saturday and even most of yesterday, we really didn't see the overwhelming positive money flow above that bearish threshold. So today, seeing that money flow, if we get the close here in a couple of hours, but if we see that gap right there, you guys can see here between the money flow cloud and the thin red line, that is officially a nice buy signal. At the very least, we should see it come back up into the smart trail, somewhere sitting here around 65.7. But I have some more resistance that I think is going to be interesting. There's a clear breaker block, a bearish breaker block, sitting between 66.6 all the way up to about 68.3. But let's turn off Luxago for a second, and let's take a look at something else. Let's look at fixed range volume profile, where we kind of have a lot of volume going on since we've been in this range. But take a look at the next level, I think that's going to come into play here. If I were to turn back on our breaker block, you're going to see confluence here just south of 67,000. We have the point of control here for Bitcoin. So with things looking like they want to move to the upside, however, you are going to see we're getting closer to that 50 on the RSI. We're about to cross daily bullish on the MACD right there. Well, actually, I was about to say we could be running the resistance, but as a whole, we actually have a lot of room to make the move to the upside. So first thing I'm watching, not going to be surprised this week if we do see 67,000 or close to it. Again, point of control, massive order block in place right there. It also would cause us to be bullish, getting back up above this smart trail, turning that level back into support. Could be very, very good for Bitcoin as a whole. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and turn off our fixed range volume just so that is gone. You guys can see here, we created some nice bullish support right here, closer to 62. We didn't quite come back to touch it. By the way, speaking of coming back down and touching support levels, I have a tragic story that I'm going to share with you guys at the end of the stream. Stick around for it. It's a personal story, but it actually affects you guys a little bit. And I'm not going to talk about it till the end of the stream. But you can see when we go back to the chart here, Bitcoin setting itself up for continual higher high and higher low price action here on the 4-hour chart. This is very, very bullish. This is something we have not seen since all the way back when we hit 72,000 back on June 7th. We have been in a bear trend, lower highs, lower lows all the way since then. And earlier today, we kind of broke that trend. Or I think it's last night. We broke that trend looking for higher highs and higher lows. Guess what? Even if we pull back down to 62,300, that still is just coming back down to former level of resistance. Very, very normal for these movements. As a whole, the macro and the micro both looking bullish at the moment and looks like we should have further room to the upside. Now, CryptoSec Guy says, Tim, is Beamer okay? I don't know why you're asking me. Do you know something about my dog that I don't know? Yeah, he's doing okay. Unless, again, I haven't received any phone calls or text messages of anything being wrong. So thank you for the super chat.
Tim, isn't it that whenever Beamer runs away, Bitcoin gets back above support? Something like that?
No, so first of all, he's been on duty here for now over a year. He's been on baby duty, right? So his number one job is top security of the household, especially when I'm gone. He takes care of the wife. He takes care of the baby. So he has no time to be fooling around jumping fences. But historically, when he does jump fences and try to run away, that's actually comes with crashes in the market, right? So I have not heard he's escaped the yard. So I don't think we have any reason to believe the crash is happening. But that does kind of get us into an interesting conversation. We're talking about the Bitcoin chart. It looks kind of bullish. But we need to move into some of the news that's happening in Bitcoin. The biggest one being this is the week that the Mt. Gox repayments are starting. And T-Shroom is going to go in and tell us more details. But let me set the stage and the reason why this conversation should be happening. There's a lot of people who have been very, very concerned for years that when the Mt. Gox repayments would start, it would crash the price of Bitcoin, crash the price of crypto. We're talking about millions, I don't even know I said millions, billions of dollars of money that was lost way back in 2014 that will finally go back out to the people. And I'm assuming the assumption here is that these people will immediately sell their Bitcoin, which would cause upwards of $9 billion of selling pressure to Bitcoin's price alone. I have my own thoughts about that, but I'm going to throw it to you, T-Shroom, to give more details about what's happening this week and what people should be looking out for with the Mt. Gox story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to turn to CNBC to see kind of what the mainstream financial media is framing this story as in the moment. As we move into July, this is the hot month for this story. Collapsed Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox is about to unload 9 billion of coins onto the market. Here's what that means. First of all, this is it. This answers one of the major questions of the formula here in considering is this bullish or bearish. They're going to be returning coins according to CNBC, not dollars, not yen, not euros, coins. All right, so moving into some of the details here on Monday, the court-appointed trustee overseeing the exchange's bankruptcy proceedings said distributions to the firm's roughly 20,000 creditors would begin in early June. We are here. Look at the calendar. Disbursements will be in the mix of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash as early offshoot of the original cryptocurrency. So those are the coins that are being replaced, as according to CNBC, not Ethereum, not Cardano, not Solana, not XRP, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. If you don't know what Bitcoin Cash is, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's mainly Bitcoin here is the main headline of the story here. Many will clearly cash out and enjoy the fact that having their assets stuck in Mt. Gox bankruptcy was the best investment they ever made, said Glover, who was previously a managing director at Barclays. Some will clearly choose to take the money and run, added Glover. So that's a little bit of opinion there from a CNBC journalist. Assuming most of the liquidations by Mt. Gox creditors take place in July, this creates a trajectory where crypto prices come under further pressure in July, but start rebounding from August onward. So that's kind of the expectation. Again, these are the words, these are the framing being read, being consumed by mainstream financial media. Yeah.
Real quick, just kind of summarizing what they're trying to imply to you. Sell in July because price should go down. Come back and buy in August. That's when price will go back up. That's what that article is trying to insinuate people should do with this information.
I agree with that assessment, Tim, and that, that's very characteristic of a mainstream Wall Street publication, trying to, I wouldn't even say manipulate, but just kind of steer retail investment.
Let's be very clear. That's not what T. Shroom and I are saying. Yeah. That is what this article's writer is implying. They're trying to give you rough financial advice to sell right now and then come back and buy in August.
Yeah, so we've been looking at the Bitcoin price and on the charts, and I would say that over the last 3 weeks, this Mt. Gox story has been significant, and it's been a main contributor to bearish sentiment across the crypto industry. Right? I would say though we've tested the lows. So what does that mean? More than likely, the market has repriced to the downside. And people like Michael Dell and other, rich folks who have been waiting for a pullback in Bitcoin have bought the bottom, what we could hope to be the bottom. Could it go lower, Bitcoin? Absolutely, as Tim points out every single day, right? But with this story starting to reach its conclusion in the early, in the first couple weeks here of July, first couple days really, we should start to see that, reports trickling in. We haven't seen them yet. Headlines trickling in. Mt. Gox, returns, coins, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash to creditors, and we'll probably see pictures of some creditors, showing their transaction hash that they went ahead and sold their Bitcoin. Right, that should start trickling in. That could put an immediate sell into the market. However, my hunch here, and Tim, I want to get your instinct. Maybe you take a look at it on charts. Is that it is baked in at this point. We've seen the movement lower, tickling 59 and pushing a little bit lower, right? However, now there's been a retrace all the way to the upside, back up to 63, right, and pushing higher. So my hunch here is that this story, Mt. Gox, is priced in. We're going to see more turbulence once we start to see those first headlines and proof of sell of Bitcoin from Mt. Gox trickle in. But more than likely, I don't think we really test lower than those highs of 59. So, but what's your take, Tim? And we can look at the charts.
Yeah. So before I go to my chart, I want you guys to understand there's this thing called, that we like to say this sentence: buy the rumor, sell the news. It's a concept where something very bullish comes into play, and everyone gets so excited about that fact that it's coming, and we're looking forward to it coming. But the minute it does come, it has bullish long-term effects, but everyone ends up selling. I'm going to show you an example of that. This is an example of kind of the opposite, where it was a sell the rumor, buy the news. Let's go ahead and look at the chart and explain what I'm talking about. For example, we knew that roughly January 10th, we were going to get an approval of a Bitcoin ETF. Now, we questioned if it was going to happen officially. That's a sore subject because I lost a stake bet to T. Shroom about. Long story short, though, there were rumors all the way back in October that we would get an ETF approval for Bitcoin on January 10th. Well, what happens from October to January? All the price rallies, right? This is they buy the rumor. It's not fact yet. It's something that everyone's looking forward to being very, very bullish, but it is a long-term buy the rumor. What happens, though, on the day or the day after, when the 11th, when the trade actually, the live trading happens, what happens? We get a little bit of volatility, but ultimately, we watch over the next 2 weeks as the price of Bitcoin corrects. Buy the rumor, October, November, December, January, and then boom, we get the actual event and we see a dip in price. Now, it's long-term bullish because that whole thing was bullish, so price moves to the upside. Same thing you can make the argument for with roughly when we were talking about the halving event. The halving event, of course, happened around April 19th, give or take. But what ended up happening here was we bought the rumor, stayed high, and then a couple of days before, we started to move back down to the downside. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, as T. Shroom said, the recent talk about the Mt. Gox returning the supply came a couple of weeks ago. Guess what a couple of weeks ago was? Early June. What does the price look like? Go back to my chart here, T. Shroom. Early June, we're sitting back up here closer to $72,000. We get this terrible news. Oh no, Mt. Gox is coming and it's doom and it's gloom. What happens? The price starts to sell off. Here's my question. Well, I think that the short term is, hey, we are, like this is the short term thought. We sold the rumor. It's now here. Price is going up. This looks like a very clear sell the rumor, buy the news. But here's the question. Is this a long-term? Is this like very, very long-term bearish in the same way the ETF was long-term bullish? The halving is long-term bullish. Is this long-term bearish? The answer is no. So in this case, well, I still expect there to be volatility over the next week or so. I already told you, I'm not going to be surprised to see a level of resistance closer to 67,000. We could even potentially go from 67,000 back down. If I let this thing load, we could go all the way from 67,000 back down, maybe even back down to those 62s, setting in a higher low. My long point, though, is this is still in the micro very bullish and in the macro very bullish. So when people are sitting here worrying, freaking out about the Mt. Gox situation, I'm just showing you the charts. I'm going to give you my second thought here in a second. But just know historically, there's buy the rumor, sell the news. This has been a very classic sell the rumor because this is bad news. It's supposed to be so terrible. But the minute it actually comes into fruition and starts to play out, it's actually a buy the release type of event. Here's the second reason, though, and you can go off my screen for this one, T. Shroom. I've said this before, but I'll say it again, especially if anyone is newer to the channel. Mt. Gox. The whole concept of what's happening here is it's people who lost their Bitcoin from way back in 2014. They put their money on Mt. Gox. They said, this is where we're going to trust to hold our coins. And then something went wrong. That money was stolen from them. Bitcoin was stolen from them. They no longer have it. And I am sure, I mean, I wasn't one of the Mt. Gox people. I was not invested in Bitcoin back in 2014. But I can understand your stomach falls out your bottom. You're freaking out. You just lost lots and like millions and billions of dollars. I'm sure no one individually lost $1 billion, but billions of dollars altogether were lost. People were freaking out. But I want you to remember something specific about this story. We are talking about Bitcoin holders from 2014. Now, I know this is going to hurt them because what they're going to get back is whatever the Bitcoin was worth back in 2014. But let's go back and take a look. What was Bitcoin worth? Even if we chose the most optimistic, you go to my screen here, T. Shroom. If we chose the best price, let's just assume this happened at the best possible price way back in 2014. We are talking about a price action of Bitcoin only being in January, $1,200. Now, realistically, I think this event happened closer to like $500 or so dollars way back here. But my point still stands. When people were buying Bitcoin, losing it at Mt. Gox, best case scenario, they were thinking about a price of Bitcoin being $1,200. Fast forward today, of course, we know that Bitcoin is flirting with getting over $70,000. My point is, when they think that everyone's going to sell, these people were brave enough, smart enough, advanced enough to be buying Bitcoin back in 2014. They have watched, even though they've had some of their Bitcoin stolen, they have watched over the last 10 years, Bitcoin just go up and up and up and show no signs of slowing down. So think with me rationally here. All the media wants you to think that they want to sell. But if you're going to sit in your own comfortable seat and think about this logically, why would an intelligent early adopter of Bitcoin who sees the long-term future want to be selling right now? They don't. I'm sure someone will sell. There's going to be someone somewhere that does it. But when we talk about over $9 billion that will be given back, my guess is the majority is actually going to go back into long-term holding because those people were here. They were early. They know the potential of Bitcoin, and they know about the 4-year cycle and how those things work, and they know that we're only getting started with all of the bullishness. I go back to what that article said. That article was implying you should sell right now in July because prices are going to get worse, and then buy back in August. You know what we call that? It's called manipulation. I don't know if the person's doing it purposefully or accidentally, but if they're telling you to sell right now and buy back a month from now, guess what I think is going to happen? I bet you the reality is you're going to sell right now, if you listen to them, at $63,400. And then instead of being able to buy back at like 55 or 48, which they might be implying, you're going to have to buy back in August probably at 75, 80,000, because that's how these markets are working. I showed you from the chart perspective how this moved, but even logically, when you think about how mainstream media works, when you think about how people who they're claiming are going to sell actually rationally are going to be thinking about this, the advocacy for a bullish rally on this news is a much bigger probability, a much larger probability than a sell-off from here on out. So for that reason, I'm not saying there can't be volatility. I'm not saying there won't be some shakeouts, some bull traps, some bear traps, some volatility up and down and up and down. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to sell a single Satoshi. I'm going to ride this sucker out because I'm not just looking at what my Bitcoin portfolio looks like in June or July or in August or September. I'm thinking about what it looks like in September of 2025, what it looks like in September of 2030, September of 2040. I'm looking at the long-term perspective and saying this is going to be such a small blip on the radar of what actually is consequential. I'm going to continue to hold my Satoshis. I'm going to add more Satoshis to my bag, and I'm going to sit back, drink the Kool-Aid, and watch the bull market take off. T-Shroom, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, my hot take that I posted this morning on Twitter was that I think that Mt. Gox is priced in. We went down in the market, justly so, because this is an actual supply adding event, which should bring down the price of Bitcoin momentarily and in the short term. That repricing has taken place, right? As Caleb Franzen like to say, the market is a forward-looking pricing mechanism, right?
Yep.
It has already priced to the downside. Now, does that mean 100% that we couldn't go lower from here? No. We definitely could go lower from here because of Mt. Gox. There could have been, market participants that were uneducated on Mt. Gox somehow, right? That will sell once they see these new headlines that start trickling in, right? My guess is that's going to be a very small amount of liquidity at the end of the day that makes that decision. But there could be other headlines that push us lower as well. Mt. Gox is not by a long shot the only vertical of consideration that investors are considering when buying and selling.
Very true.
But I think right now, Mt. Gox is priced in. We're seeing price move to the upside because the new cycle is here. It's Orange Man and Sleepy Man, and that's what matters now. That's what people care about. Mt. Gox is in the rearview mirror, right? Yeah. November is in the horizon, and that's what we're moving towards. That's what the market is pricing in because it's a forward looking mechanism, not as much a backward, right? Because that has already happened. So,
well, it's like forward-looking, like T-Shroom, flirting with the story that's not even next up. You have to wait for that story. There's a whole other conversation we have to have before we start talking about Orange Man and Sleepy Man. Some of you know exactly what we're talking. In fact, if you guys don't know what we mean by Orange Man and Sleepy Man, I'm sorry, we can't explain it to you.
Yep.
But pick up a newspaper. I love you. I'm not insulting your intelligence whatsoever, but if you don't know what Orange Man and Sleepy Man is, pick up a newspaper, please. It would be very helpful for you.
It's time to end the camping trip. Come back to civilization.
Yes.
Thanks for watching the bros, though.
Let's go ahead and transition here. Shout out to you guys. We have we have 420 of you. No, 422. Okay, good. That's a risky number right there. Really quickly, we're about to transition, talk about Kaspa. I did want to give a shout out to one of the sponsors of the video. Big appreciation to Decrypted.Tax. They do our taxes. They do the bros taxes. They do my personal taxes. They do T-Shroom's personal taxes. Decrypted.Tax is the #1 crypto CPA you're going to find out there, not only from a price situation. I've looked at and listened to other pitches from other CPAs that charge a lot of money. Earnest and Decrypted.Tax, they're the cheapest ones you're going to find out there. But the other good news about the price action, when you tell them the bros sent you, you get another 25% off. They're already great prices. You might also be asking, why are we talking about taxes in July? It's because, guys, you're going to make gains. Talk to a tax professional now so that the money that you're going to owe the government doesn't come back to bite you in the butt in April of 2025. Trust me, go give him a free 60-minute call. Find out what you need to know. And again, I bet the majority of you talk to him are going to want to sign up with him today. Tell him the bros sent you. Let's get into Kaspa. Now, when it comes to Kaspa, had a very explosive and exciting week last week. Let's take a look at the chart real quick. Oh, you're already on it. Man, you're 10 steps ahead here, T-Shroom. You're going to see. We actually, in a very, very quick movement, we talked about Kaspa last week, about this level of resistance sitting here around just below 19 cents that had been in play. And I told you guys, when we broke above it, we would have a very explosive move to the upside. In fact, this move could be upwards. I don't think I have it marked here anymore, but we could see Kaspa, once a confirmation of this breakout happens, see a price all the way back up to, or not I say back up to 35 cents, right? So a very explosive move could be coming. But you're going to notice, as exciting as Kaspa was, and it had a lot of attention, there was something that not a lot of people were talking about, and it did cause Kaspa to shoot up briefly to new highs to 19.7 cents, but now we've corrected back down and we're closer to 18 cents. So I think that tonight T-Shroom is going to be on Spaces over on X. He's going to go into a lot more detail with Crux, so look forward to that. But for now, in our YouTube community, T-Shroom, what do people need to know about Kaspa? Why was the breakout, I don't want to call it a failure, but why did it cease to continue to push to the upside and cool off a little bit?
It's a good question, Tim. First of all, let's get into it. With massive user engagement around KRC20 beta launch today, the KRC20 network's experiencing some issues. Now, that's a bit of an understatement with what happened. Essentially, you all tuned in last week, and we explained to you that meme coins were coming to Kaspa, and that was what we were told, right? That's what CaspNet was essentially coming in and was providing. Casplex, excuse me. So this, you'll remember this logo. This is the first protocol for Kaspa ecosystem, and it still will be, right? But it did not get off without a hitch. There were some issues, and it was bad. It was a bad launch. It wasn't a good look for Kaspa. Although I will say that in chatting with Crux of Crypto about this, it wasn't really the fault of the Kaspa Foundation, the Kaspa developers at all. It was a Casplex failure. And when we say failure, there wasn't anything really lost. It was just the inability to mint the meme coins for this new Kaspa protocol. So it was unfortunate. Now, to add insult to injury, there are also a lot of users of the Tangem wallet that are saying things like this: "Hey, Tangem, not sure whose issue this is, but can't seem to send Kaspa out of my wallet. Been giving me an error message all day." So that was from the Crypto Tiger. Who is that? I have zero idea. But if you look through, there's a lot of tweets of folks who are having a similar issue. There is a known issue with Tangem wallet, and apparently it's one of the only cold wallets that you can actually store Kaspa on. So that is what's going on here. It's not good, but it's not catastrophic. It's a bad upgrade, a headline for Kaspa. So that's kind of what we're seeing. We are absolutely going to be diving, because we've just barely scratched the surface on all the details involved in this. If you're a Kaspa investor, you might be scratching your head, what the heck? Should I sell my Kaspa? Well, we're going to be talking about it tonight on the X Spaces, as Tim said. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X. Make an account if you don't have one, because it's going to be a lot of fun as Crux really breaks it down. We even have reached out to a couple of Kaspa developers and folks from the foundation, hopefully to come on and provide a little bit of clarity as to what we can expect over the next launch for Casplex and the meme coins there. But yeah.
Now we don't want to leave you too hanging. Again, you'll get more details, some great conversation tonight. But I want to make sure people understand. Is this Kaspa's fault. Like, is something inherently wrong with Kaspa or the organization that started it? The answer is no. It's not actually Kaspa. It's something being built on Kaspa. So that's the first thing you guys need to know. If your first thought upon hearing this is, oh no, is there a long-term problem with one of my favorite tokens? I need to sell everything. The answer is no. This will be fixed. This will go back up. It's going to be fine. From a chart perspective, going back over here, you're going to notice even on the pullback, as the pullback is coming back down to a level of support called a bullish breaker block. Could we go all the way down to 17.2 cents? Absolutely. But as long as we stay above there, I'm not even that worried. And in fact, even if we drop below that, as long as we stay above this rising level of support that we've been in since back in early May, there's really nothing to be worried about Kaspa. It is something on the short term that killed the bullish momentum and prevented Kaspa from breaking out sooner. But as soon as it is fixed, again, we're sitting on a lot of support and everything should still be in play for Kaspa to shoot not only to the upside and get back up. I say back up. I keep saying that. Get up to 35 cents, give or take. This doesn't discredit a video we actually put out Sunday morning. Go check it out, the details. But we talked about, and I think I misspoke because I saw multiple comments saying $265. If I say $265 in the video, hopefully enough of you guys would know that that is just astronomically stupid to get that high in this bull market for Kaspa. $2.65 is my low end, $4.50 my high end. Go check out that video T-Shroom was just showing you. I break down as to why I'm that bullish. And I'll give you a hint. Even though I didn't know about this recent problem, nothing that I talk about has changed in that video. This isn't a video I need to go back and reshoot a new one and reevaluate how high we can get. We're still extremely bullish on Kaspa long term. Just have a short term, let's call it a hiccup. A little hiccup for the Kaspa ecosystem. You should be good to go. It's time to move on, though. That was a nice short and sweet segment, T-Shroom. You are muted, or I can't hear you. I don't know.
It's because I was saying it was too
appropriate?
too deep. No.
Okay. Good.
I was hearkening back to the Jerome Powell line. The issue with Kaspa is transitory. It's not here to stay. There will be a fix.
Please, let's not talk about transitory at all. Let's go ahead and move into our third subject. Speaking of another subject that's fun to talk about, we had some big news today. If you are an American political enthusiast, raise your hand in chat. If you love politics, if you just live and breathe every single day to find out what's happening in the world of politics, because it solves all of your hopes and dreams and problems. I don't expect to see any ones there, but we did have some pretty big news that has an effect not only on the American leadership discussion and decision that will be happening later this fall. There's some keywords there. I just don't want to say. I don't want YouTube or Google to be upset with the investing bros and stop us. Big news that affects not only that, but also it does have an effect on crypto price. T-Shroom, what is happening with Orange Man that people need to know about?
Absolutely. Well, we're going to read this article sparingly, but before we get too far into this American story, we got to give it up for Happy Canada Day. So if you are watching and you're in Canada or you're a Canadian expat, drop in the chat the letters AY, Canada A. Let us know that you're Canadian. I know we have a lot of people that watch from Ontario, and they love to tune in. Happy Canada Day. Yeah, Supreme Court rules that Orange Man has immunity for official acts and limits evidence and reach of special counsel's election case. Again, this is from
I don't know if we're supposed to say the E word, but we're going to let it slide.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. This is a minefield of coverage here, but it's CNBC.com, right? This mainstream financial news. The Supreme Court ruled that Orange Man is immune from criminal prosecution for official acts as a leader of the United States, limiting the evidence and scope of special counsel Jack Smith's case. I was close on that one. Orange Man is charged in a 4-count indictment with illegally conspiring to overturn his loss of other current leader of the United States, Sleepy Man, in the 2020 leadership competition.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. We're doing this because YouTube and Google do not like when YouTubers say specific words that lead to leadership decision-making manipulation, right? So we're trying to oblige. and it makes it interesting. But doesn't this make reading these types of articles 10 times more fun, T-Shroom?
Fun is a strong word. I would say no, not fun. Challenging, yes.
I'm having a great time listening to you break down this article. Is there any more details about it that we need to know?
There is, because the part of the United States media, that would oppose Orange Man has kind of taken with this new talking point that came from Justice Sotomayor, who was one of the dissenting here. The 6-3 decision drew a scathing dissent from Justice Sotomayor, who wrote that effectively creates a law-free zone around the leader of the United States. So it's, and that's an interesting one, Tim. What do you think? Do you think that just right off the bat, you're not a legal scholar, right?
I'm not.
But do you think this decision creates a law-free zone around the executive branch's leader in the United States?
It is something that I've listened to some pundits from both sides kind of break it down. Of course, I think there's elements that people on the right are going to say that this whole case against Orange Man was pretty crazy to begin with, and very clearly a tool, political tool used to get rid of him. So I think there's an element of that saying like, hey, the Supreme Court stepping in and making this ruling is actually justice being done. But I think you have to take for credit the example, the complaints maybe of the left, and saying that this is actually very dangerous. Now, I don't know if I think Orange Man's about to go on a unaliving rampage, but theoretically speaking, where does this limit? That's my question. Where does this barrier begin and end? Right? What crimes can you do as a former American superior leader? What can you do and not go to prison? Because I would imagine it would, at least at that point, like if Orange Man actually unalived somebody, this is a very fun conversation for YouTube. I would imagine this does not apply to that. I would imagine justice would come in and he would definitely go to prison. So I have to imagine, but I don't know if the Supreme Court really gave us the guidelines on that.
Yeah. Well, they more than likely did. Right. But this came out like this morning. Right. So this is the kind of thing that we'll be talking about on the spaces tonight, because one of the things we're talking about is regulatory clarity. And we're going to be getting that. The markets are pricing that in, if you haven't noticed.
Very nice.
Not just crypto, but also on the stock side. So, it's very interesting. We'll
kind of move into what does this have to do with crypto? That's going to be everyone's big question here. Ultimately, it's not necessarily crazy breaking news, but it's not a secret that Orange Man is our candidate for American leader that is probably more pro-crypto. Sleepy Man, while he's made some comments recently to suggest he's not anti-crypto, I think there's a wide-held belief that his policies and things he would do and the people he would keep in powers, wink, wink, Gary Gensler, would be very anti the crypto space. So seeing something like this is just one less weapon that can be held against Orange Man, calling him a convicted felon. Now, they're probably still going to go after him and accuse him of crimes, but you no longer can call him a convicted felon. The Supreme Court just ruled on that. So it's something that could help out more moderate viewers or more moderate Americans, selectors, to not necessarily feel as opposed. Like, I think there's some people that are just confused. They're like, what's the deal here? How do I feel morally about voting for a convicted felon? Yada, yada, yada. The point is, this is a win for Orange Man. And at the moment, I'll say this, love him, hate him. Are you going to choose him? Or are you not going to choose him? What you decide to do with I'll say it this time because I think this is okay. What you do with your vote is completely up to you. No one's going to judge you here. No one's going to have anything to say about it. I will say, as if you are thinking when you go to the polls, I want to make a selection that is best for crypto. It's hard to see that being the best world when Sleepy Man, if he were to take leadership again. I think we almost all could agree that it'd be nice to have a third, fourth, fifth option. I think moving forward, I would love to see our country get into a place where we can have more than just two legitimate contenders for this leadership. T-Shroom doesn't like that. That's okay. We even disagree here on this channel. But my point is, with what you have to work with on this season of American leadership drama, it's hard to say if you're pro crypto that you can also be anti-Orange Man, pro Sleepy Man. I know that it's hard, and I don't want to put anything in a box or anyone in a box, but I'm just going to call a spade a spade. It's really hard. If you're big and you want to see the United States be big on crypto, I think it's pretty clear what the American people are going to need to do come November.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, that things have gotten to this level. The reason I shake my head is because it's not about the parties, in my opinion. I think there are two main political forces. Without getting too heady here, there's labor and there's capital, and they are well represented by two parties. What needs to happen is that the parties need to stick to what they originally were intended to represent, and it's pretty clear that one was intended to represent those who own things, the capitalists, and the other is supposed to represent those who work for those who own things, young people, and that would be obviously the other party. But taking a bigger step back, the whole thing, in light of new technology and new voting systems and new possibilities that are provided by things like blockchain and Bitcoin, obviously the whole thing needs to be completely rethought of and redesigned. The founding fathers created an excellent system, but it's ready to be updated. Right? They created that system on parchment, right, with ink and quill. I think we have some new technologies that might be useful moving forward.
I just want to remind people, and I'm not going to go any further with this. I'm just going to remind people of history. Back in 1776, our forefathers decided to have a revolution against the Britons because of a 5% tax. I just want that to sink in your head. We literally broke off as a country because we thought that 5% taxes was just ridiculous. Do with that information what you will. T-Shroom, I think it's time to transition. We're going to get into some Q&A. And I will tell you guys, while T-Shroom was talking earlier, I went ahead and messaged the VIP group, guys. I can feel it as we're talking here. I don't know if you hear it or not. My voice is fading. My throat's it's like getting worse as we go on. I'm gonna be postponing our VIP trading group tonight. And I'll answer some questions here. I'm gonna be a trooper and stick out for the rest of the show. But if I don't go get some rest, I don't even know if I can do content tomorrow. So if you guys will pray for me, pray for my voice, pray for the vitamin C that's going to be ingested by me here in the next couple of hours, would work very effectively. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
With that said, what do you have?
Well, I was just going to say, why don't we even cut question time short potentially, but that's something to think about.
We have 18 minutes, and most of it's going to be you talking or something else. So while we get some Q&A in from chat, let's go ahead and do our factoid of the day.
Absolutely. Well, the factoid of the day is brought to you all by Decrypted.Tax, our trusted tax partners. They do our personal and business tax here at the Investing Bros. We love them. We love Ernest. And you get also a nice 25% discount for your pro tax services. And let them know that the Investing Bros sent you. Also brought to you by the fact that I got this wrong. It's not AY that the Canadians say. It's EH, apparently. So... sorry, I cannot believe I made such a blunder on Canada Day. It's not something I intended to do when I popped the stream live. So I apologize for that. Tim, what legend is mimicked by the official uniform of the Canadian Supreme Court? Is it A, Napoleon Bonaparte, B, King Henry VIII, C, Santa Claus, D, the UK Speaker of the House gown, or E, Martin Luther? You've got a nice plethora of choices there, Tim. What the right
legend is mimicked by the official uniform of the Canadian Supreme Court? I'm assuming that they have like the white, like the old school like wigs. That would not be Napoleon Bonaparte. That would not be Santa Claus. I don't even know what the UK Speaker of the House gown means, or Martin Luther. So I'm going to go with King Henry. Well, no, that doesn't make sense either, does it? Oh, that's actually hard. I don't know what the uniform looks like for the Canadian Supreme Court.
And that's unfortunate considering what the question is for this one, Tim.
What legend is mimicked by the... what legend? I don't know what I don't know what the question is even asking. What legend is mimicked by the official uniform? I don't know.
I'm seeing a couple people in the chat giving a guess. Crypto Kitty said B. Crypto Sec Guy has said D. Paxad said gotta be D.
I have no idea what I'm even being asked, if we're really being honest. What legend is mimicked?
All right, you gotta make a decision here, Tim.
I don't even know. Can you give me an F? I feel like an F would be a better option here.
Broflowski said username.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Broflowski. I don't know. UK Speaker of the House gown. I don't know what it means by legend. I'm very curious to see what this answer is and hear the explanation.
It's Santa Claus, Tim. Here we go. This is the official uniform that mimics Santa Claus. We go to the official Supreme Court Wikipedia page of Canada, Supreme Court of Canada, and that's what you get. This is a close-up of them individually. This is the Honorable Justice Richard Wagner. He's been in service to the Queen's justice system there in Canada since 2017, and he's looking very fine, if I do say myself. There you go. Tim's searching it up himself. He can't believe it. He cannot believe it. Why did you look up the...
Because I just have an observation. Listen, I want to start off before... Don't share my screen yet.
I'm not sharing it.
If you are from Canada, if you're a Canadian citizen, I love you. I thank you so much for being a bro. Thank you for being here, a part of the channel. Maybe you want to turn off the video for what I'm about to say. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to go ahead and just give it a day for today. Turn off the show. Because what the freak, Canada? Why are you allowed to still be a country at this point?
What?
Your Supreme Court justices are just Santa Clauses. We call your monies loonies and toonies. Like I was trying to look up. That's what I was looking up with the Canadian money thing.
Gotcha.
I can't find it. But I'm not wrong, am I? We call them loonies and toonies. That's literally how we talk about money. Your Supreme Court justices are just a bunch of Santa Clauses, and you pay for things with loonies and toonies.
Wow.
And you voted for Trudeau. So I don't really. We're allowed to say his name, by the way. Google doesn't seem to have a problem with him. Why are you guys still a country? Just become America North. Not that we have everything figured out. Mm-hmm. But we don't dress up our Supreme Court as Santa Claus and we call it dollars. That's just silly. That's just silly.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, Tim. I think it would be
it's a joke. The whole country is a joke, and it's literally in almost everything that they do. Like it's one of those jokes that like they're trying to tell you they're not joking. But everything in their face is saying we are a joke. The whole country is one big practical joke. It's
literally Canada Day, and you are coming for Canada in a way that they do not deserve. And I'm going to take Canada's side, and I'm going to say the Canadians that I've interacted with and met are some of the best people that I've ever met outside of Utah.
They couldn't even beat a hockey team from South Florida. There's no ice in South Florida, and they lost to a hockey team from Miami. The whole country is a joke.
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough. Look, if I was president of there's the word. If I was the leader of the United States, I would and I was able to take over Canada. What I would do is name it all Maine. I would just expand the state of Maine to all of Canada, and then all of Canada would just be called Maine, and Maine would be the biggest state outside. I think. Probably, it'd definitely be bigger than Alaska. That's what I would do, Tim.
Listen, again, no offense to any individual who's a Canadian. Offense to their country, but no offense to you as the individual. Let's go ahead and get into Q&A here, Teacher. Wow. I realize that all of our banter right there is going to spark a whole lot more in the chat that's not going to serve as Q&A.
Russ Schmidt, it's kicking it off with a strong rebuttal, Tim. 90% of the hockey team was Canadian players, you tool.
Yeah, guess what? They defected and moved to the United States. So that's that.
Venting Tim. What questions are you seeing?
I see optimism. A question about optimism. That's a good one. Let's take a look here. And I had a thought about optimism. I want to do the TA at optimism first, but kind of a thought about layer 2s for Ethereum in general. Tim is officially the next target of Drake's diss record.
That's good.
Listen, Drake is a joke as well. All right, let's keep going on here. The optimism of the Ethereum layer 2s price wise, it actually has probably the best looking chart as a whole. It still has pulled back pretty dramatically since the high back here in February. We actually pulled back 66%. A lot of altcoins did that, but you're going to see it found itself here more recently hitting on a long-term level of rising support. I think this should be long-term bullish. I'm bullish on optimism as a whole. When I turn on our Luxago oscillators, you're also going to see on the daily chart, we hit our take profit of the daily short that we were entered way back from in, like the 1st of June. So a whole month of bearishness. We hit the take profit. It looks like it's time to move back to the upside. Keep an eye on the falling level of the smart trail back up here on 232. Could be an interesting spot to keep an eye on. Even if I were to take a look at fixed range volume from the high to here, let's see if there's anything interesting. You're going to see a little bit of peak in volume right here on 223. Not necessarily seeing anything back that up for sure. Let's look at our fixed range. Let's turn Lux off for a second. Let's look at Fibonacci levels of potential retracement in play here. 210 and then 244 is our 0.382 level. That, again, those could both come into play as well. Even more specific, let's go to more recent highs here. Okay. I like the golden pocket from the high back here on May 21st to the low. Golden pocket here on 238. That kind of splits some difference. What we were talking about with smart trail and then also the point of control here right there on 240 or so. So that's going to be my level to kind of look at for a nice level of resistance on Optimism. I'm very certain when we pull up here and look at the oscillators, I hadn't looked at it yet, but I was very certain that we were going to have a buy signal. Green reversal, bullish momentum, bullish money flow. Excessive sellers left the space here a couple of days ago. So it's hard not to like what you're seeing on the daily chart from Optimism. I also want to make a point before we move on to the next question. You know, people have been asking a lot, what's the best layer 2 for Ethereum we should be looking at, especially with Ethereum news coming here in about a week where their ETF will be traded live. You know, MATIC has been disappointing. Take a look here at the MATIC chart here, T-Shroom. I'm going to get rid of some stuff. There is something bullish here, but MATIC has been pretty disappointing. And to be honest with you, I don't have this number pulled up, but MATIC, when you look at daily active users, MATIC is not doing well whatsoever. Now, it is seeing something very bullish here in terms of formation from a chart perspective, where we do see a falling wedge pattern, the same as Cardano and MATIC. So that's something to be aware of, but Cardano and DOT. But MATIC, I do want to make sure you guys understand, if we see it come back to life, that's great, but it's the older layer 2. The tech is a little outdated. I think Optimism and Arbitrum have better things kind of going on. MATIC is a bullish formation here, but I'm getting less bullish on MATIC every single day from a fundamental standpoint. You want to know what of the layer 2s actually has the most daily users? It's actually Arbitrum. But take a look at Arbitrum's chart. Arbitrum actually came back to a level we talked about. We put this here a while ago that we could come back to 71 cents. Sure enough, we got pretty stinking close to it. It's got its own little falling wedge kind of thing going on too, but look at what it did. It actually here in the last couple of weeks matched the bear market bottom from back in September of 2023. So you have this one, you have MATIC, which doesn't have a lot of daily users and the chart looks crappy. You have Arbitrum that has the most daily users, but the price action is abysmal. Why? Because they had a massive unlock. That's why I'm still bullish on Arbitrum long term, but they had this big pullback because they had a massive unlock. Then you have Optimism kind of sitting there in the middle. It's not as many users as Arbitrum, but it has better tech and more users than MATIC at the moment. And its chart is actually showing a continuation of a long-term higher high and higher low perspective. So of the three of them, Optimism's looking like the best, safest form of value. I think you have the greatest potential with Arbitrum. And then you have the question of, hey, MATIC is still number one, and it's still a highly recognized brand that still has relationships with Coca-Cola and Disney. But could we see Optimism and Arbitrum steal some thunder from MATIC this bull market? I'm heavily considering moving a lot of my MATIC holdings into probably Arbitrum at this point for the best bang for my buck. So just thought I'd talk about that with ETH layer 2s, kind of seeing seeing a little bit of a race develop between those three with different pros and cons.
Mm-hmm. And then the question's raised as well. It's like, do you even have to select a horse that's in that specific race of the Ethereum layer 2 race? Mm-hmm. And the answer is no. You can do whatever you want with your money. You don't have to diversify into Ethereum layer 2. I have, but not very much. Yeah. Not very
Alexander, in reference to our previous conversation, says that debate reminded me of why I'd rather be in CA. Touche, I will say. You know, after everything I said, I don't have a great rebuttal for that comment, Alexander. Let's just all move to El Salvador.
I love it. Just to earn back the love and trust of the Canadian viewers that are tuning in, I'm gonna go ahead and recite all the different territories. You got Yukon, Northwestern Territories, Nunavut. You've got Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia.
Every time I hear every time I hear Saskatchewan, I just picture like a Dutch lady from Minnesota talking about her cousin that lives up in Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon. It's a funny region. I will say that.
Take your toonies and loonies to Saskatchewan.
And maybe the Supreme Court will bring you some presents.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh.
Why are you running?
We're having fun. We are having fun. Guys, if you're interested in Ethereum layer 2s and you want to go deeper, go over to i2beat.com, L2beat.com, and there you will find basically a rank list with Arbitrum and Base at the top.
Base is crushing it for a lot, but look at that. Arbitrum's number 1. Look at how far down MATIC is. I mean, it's not even like it's close.
Well, hold your horses though. This specific website doesn't consider MATIC to be the same because it's like a plasma. It's not like it's not a side chain layer 2 like Arbitrum and Base. I mean, it gets really heady. But if you want to do that further reading and kind of go a layer deeper, talking about layer 2s, go ahead over to L2beat.com. That's L2beat.com. We're not affiliated at all, but it's just a kind of a cool tool that I found actually pretty early on in my crypto journey. So there you go.
Before we go, there's a couple of things I do need to bring up. I told you guys earlier I was going to show you a disappointing level of support. So don't show my screen yet. I got to set this up. So Saturday, we brought back community trades, and I want you guys to know we're probably going to do a community trade probably once a month. If ever like 1 week the trade doesn't get triggered, we'll just redo another one the next week, right? I have a very tragic story today of a trade limit order we set up on Saturday that did not enter. And I'm going to go ahead and exit it. We're not going to do it. So we'll have another community trade on this Saturday. That's going to be the good news. Show my chart here, T-Shroom, as far as how close this trade got to triggering. Those of you who are Saturday, we set a limit order on Chainlink with a 10x at $13.40. We had to take profits somewhere in the region of like 14.30, give or take. It was that region, right? The price on Blowfin dropped to 13.42 and corrected and went to the upside. We missed our entry by a whopping 2 cents. Now, I want you guys to realize when this happened, the price was like 13.70, so we were waiting for like a 30-something cent drop. We did the TA that well and yet that poorly that we missed our entry by 2 cents. It broke my heart. I know it's going to break your guys' heart as well. That would have been a guaranteed like $50 giveaway or something for you guys based off our mathematics. I don't know, $50 is a little much. Probably like it's probably going to be like $40 or so. But
we got a super chat here.
I will do better next week, guys. I promise. We missed that one by the hair, literally, of T-Shroom's head.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about that one, Tim. We do have a super chat here.
Too much insults to Canada. I had to redirect the attention a little bit to close out the show. Crypto Sec guy with the $2 super chat said, "What's wrong with the way Minnesotans speak?" I didn't say anything about Minnesota, so this is just called taking on the spirit of offense. Listen, Crypto Sec guy, I meant offense to Canada. I meant a little offense to T-Shroom, even though I love him a lot. The only Minnesotan that I mean offense to is you. You in your Florida State and Ohio State loving behind. I love every other person in Minnesota, and I love you in a weird way, but in a way that I will give you a lot of hard times. You're the only Minnesotan I have a problem with. That is what we have here. We have 2 minutes left. I told you guys, we will do Theta TA here in a second, but I'll make sure I update you guys before we move on with one last update here. You guys know Thursday is July 4th. We've hinted at this, but want to remind you guys that we are going to be starting a challenge for everyone here. I'll update you guys the next couple of days about this, but we have partnered with the ministry called Life for the Innocent. This is a ministry that goes into India to save children from sex and organ trafficking. If that is something that you guys believe is something that makes the world better, we believe heavily on July 4th. Like, we're going to celebrate freedom here in the U.S., but there's people all over the world that do not have it. We're going to start a challenge where we challenge you guys to take all of your profits from trading. This is what T-Shroom and I are going to do. We're going to trade for the entire week, July 4th, July 11th. Every dollar of profit and then some that we're going to make here, we're going to be giving to Life for the Innocent. We want to challenge you guys to do the same as well. If you're not a trader, but you want to be a part of this ministry and give to them, please reach out to us. Every single dollar helps. You guys see there, T-Shroom brought up what different things can do just to save the life of a child. And I want to encourage you guys, If you guys have been killing it in crypto, if you guys have been blessed and you're well on your way to creating generational wealth, please consider how you can start being a blessing and give back to others. Crypto is a place that still has a lot of nefarious and terrible people in it, but when used correctly, I believe crypto is something that can be used for the good of mankind, and I think this is just one way that we can do that. So we'll give you more updates when we're starting that on Thursday, July 4th, but look forward to that. T-Shirt.
Super important. That's going to be a very big deal when that comes up on July 4th. Definitely be tuned into that. And tonight, tune in to the X Spaces. It's already scheduled, so you can set a reminder on X. Yep. We're going to be talking about the Kaspa fumble. We're going to be going very deep into that. Political uncertainty and the AI narrative. Is it over? Dun, dun, dun. We're going to be talking about it, so make sure you set a reminder. We're going to be really diving deep. And Crux has done a lot more research on the Kaspa stuff. Could it be a buy, at these repriced levels? We shall see.
Yeah, let's take a look at Theta, and we're going to call it a day today. Theta pulled back here on my screen. We actually pulled back to the resistance of January and December, so that's kind of a bullish sign here as well. When you pull up Lux Algo, we hit the second take profit on the sell order. So all of these things are actually very, very bullish in my perspective here on the daily chart. What I'm looking at is some confluence of resistance up here back close to $2. Right below it here, you see the smart trail and a bearish breaker block in that play as well. Oscillators showing we have a long room to the upside. We actually got the buy signal way back here on June 21st. So even though we've been in a buy signal now for what is that? I mean, that's going to be like 10 days. You can see the price isn't that far up from where those buy signals did flash. So I think you're still early to looking for a long position and long-term investment here on Theta. I think Theta's, it's in the AI world. AI, I don't think is anywhere close to being done. Yes, Theta is down from its high earlier this year, roughly about 58%. That just means more of an opportunity to buy to the upside. We're still setting these higher highs and higher lows. These are very, very bullish things. And we're not a falling wedge necessarily, but this is a bullish formation called a descending channel. I'm going to not be able to draw it perfectly, but I'm going to draw it for you guys so you guys can see roughly what's going on. These, just like falling wedges, more often than not break to the upside. If you look here at what it would do, this as well, if I can move this over, when we get a breakout, could see the price fly back up to $3.23 if we do break the resistance here closer in July. So keep an eye on Theta. I am bullish on it. I think Theta is a project that can still do very, very well. Shout out to Morgan Powell, who said appreciate the cause and the Techno Bros. Absolutely, Morgan. We like to have fun at the Bros. In case you're newer here, we cover everything you need to know about the markets, but while we do it, we have fun, we joke, we laugh, we get serious when it's time to be serious, and we have fun when it's time to have fun. If that's something, a part of a family you guys want to be in with the crypto community, you found the right place. Hit the subscribe button. Go join our free Discord. We do have a new membership option if you want to learn more about crypto. But for today, let's just get people into Discord. We have an amazing community, not just me, T-Shirt, and Crux that helps you guys, but it's thousands of people who think are just like you, who want to help everybody get better and create that generational wealth for our families. With that said, love you guys. I am hoping to be back tomorrow, get some vitamin C in my throat, get some rest in my body, and I should be back tomorrow. With that said, see you guys in the morning. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.